right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
It is Tuesday, September 17th, and the Yankees were in Seattle trying to build on their lead in the American League East. Luis Huel on the mound trying to get win number 14 on the season. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Welcome to New York City.
Pinstripe Territory.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. First game of the road trip, and the Yankees not only destroyed the Seattle Mariners, but they gained a game in the AL East over the Baltimore Orioles. Joining me tonight to talk about it is Terrence Kem, but you can call him TK. How you doing tonight, TK?
I'm doing pretty well, especially after a win like that. I feel like it's been a little bit since we've seen the offense break out like that. I've actually been to that ballpark. It's very nice. It gets a little cool because it's like always outside. It's like a canopy that just rolls over the top. But it's a really nice ballpark.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I feel like, it's been probably the first game of the Royals series. The Yankees scored 10 runs. So Orioles actually got their asses handed to them tonight, 10-0 to the Giants. Blake Snell was fantastic. He's going to get paid this offseason. And now the Yankees lead the American League East by 4 games. It's not over yet, TK, but I would much rather be in our position than the Orioles' position right now. I want to get it to at least a 5-game lead before we play that series.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're in the driver's seat right now, 100%. You want to be in our position rather than the Orioles' position. And honestly, it's just like shocking. Both teams since the All-Star break have basically been handing the division to each other, and no one's really taken it until the Yankees have recently. But yeah, that series is still going to be huge. You never know what can happen. There's one more series after that. So you definitely want to take 2 out of 3 against Baltimore, clinch it, and then you can kind of chill a little bit. But you got to be sitting pretty if you're the Yanks right now. Just kind of keep with the vibes, keep with the cruise control, keep taking series, and they should be able to do it now. Like, it should be ours, but you can't be putting your what do they say, like, your
can't be
feet
complacent. Yeah,
exactly.
So let me throw you this, because even when times are good, right, like they are right now, there's this little spot inside of me that's just like, hey, 5-day layoff, could disrupt their time. Like, it's impossible for me to not be stressed out about something. And right now, that's the thing that's kind of got me, stressed next. I feel like the Yankees are going to win the division. I feel like they're probably going to have the best record in the American League, although that's not a sure thing. The Guardians are right, on their tail. But does that 5-day layoff headed into the playoffs worry you at all?
I think a little bit, just because of the way baseball is played as a game versus the other sports. Like, obviously in football, that's a violent game. You need a lot of time between games. That's why they have games every week, once a week. Same thing with basketball. Baseball is a game where you kind of get in a groove and you're sort of locked in, and then it's very easy to get out of that zone, especially if you have a long layoff period. So if I'm the Yankees and let's say they win the division, so they have that bye. And I remember when the Players Association was doing their negotiations and they were discussing this, a lot of the players weren't for the bye. They were saying that's actually going to end up hurting the team that wins the division. And I think that may be a theory as to why we've seen so many wild card teams make runs to the World Series in the last 3 years. But I think with that, Kay made this point, but I think it's interesting with your pitchers. Maybe you have them start in the minor leagues just to kind of keep it fresh, just to have like a 3-4 inning start in the minors, just to see live batters, because you can't do a simulated game. It's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. We'll see. A lot of times they'll send those guys down to Tampa and they'll face major league hitters who are not on the roster. So I think that's a possibility. My confidence coming into this game was not high because Brian Wu is nasty. He had a 2.38 ERA coming in. He was 5-0 with a 1.66 ERA at home. Just a really polished pitcher. Yankees did damage early. Judge with a 2-run double in the first, 2-run single in the second. Soto hammered home run number 40. He also goofed one in right field tonight. We'll talk about that. Dominguez went deep, first home run in the big league since his Tommy John surgery, hence the Martian hat. That's what I'm rocking tonight, in case you're listening. We had the first relief outing from Marcus Stroman, And the Yankees win in a rout. All right, let's talk a little bit about Luis Huel. In case you missed the game and you're waking up tomorrow morning, Luis Huel was pretty solid. Things did not look good out of the gate. 2 walks and a hit by pitch in the first inning. But Victor Robles tried to steal home on a 3-0 pitch with the bases loaded. Wow. Truly one of the stupidest base running decisions I've ever seen. And after that, Luis Huel seemed to kind of settle down. He wasn't his best. He wasn't perfect. It was kind of a gutsy outing. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. What'd you see from Huel tonight, my man?
As always, the stuff is always sharp. His problem has been for the entire year is command. I think they said during the broadcast he's about 5 walks per 9, which is way too high. But Luis Huel, although I'm super happy with what he's done this season, obviously, and he's a obvious Rookie of the Year candidate, I can't help but feel also frustrated because it's like you watch him pitch, you watch the stuff. He's got the electric fastball, great breaking ball, and you see it's there. This guy could be a legitimate Cy Young candidate, I think, year in and year out. But I think the thing that's getting in his way is command of his pitches. And that could be a mechanical thing. Maybe he's young. There's a confidence thing. Different grips on pitches. Could be lots of different things. But it's like that to me seems like the last piece of the puzzle. And once he gets that figured out, which hopefully he will this offseason, I really think we're looking at a guy with like a mid-2 ERA, winning 20, ace level kind of stuff because he's shown that, and maybe work on a little bit of longevity as well. He's pushing his innings this year, so some stamina and some command. I think that would be the 2 things that Matt Blake will be like, this is what we're working on this offseason.
Yeah, I thought he settled in nicely. He's got some things to learn and things to improve on, but he's got the arm to be a top of the rotation pitcher. I don't know if Gerrit Cole is still working as his pitching coach, his personal pitching coach, like he was when he was out, but it's clear that he's come a long way from the beginning of the season, and you can see the confidence growing. He was able to kind of put the reins on it after a tough start, so nice job for him. And that brings up our next topic. Huel now 14-6 with a 3.14 ERA on the season. Austin Wells also ripped a 3-run double today. He's become one of the best catchers in the American League on both sides of the baseball. So we finally have a great catcher again. We got a young ace. Covers.com, that's a website that tracks betting odds, currently has Luis Huel and Austin Wells as numbers 1 and 2 in the Rookie of the Year vote. So I'm going to put you on the spot. You get 1 vote. Who are you voting for?
At the beginning of the year, I would have said Huel hands down, but I think Austin Wells has won me over with his second half. Beginning of the year, he was really struggling on paper, but you made this point a number of times, Derek, but he was just a really unlucky hitter. You could see that with a lot of like the deep sabermetrics, and the balls just weren't really finding the holes for him or falling for him, but he is a good hitter, and we've always been a proponent of his bat has always been the thing about him coming up through the system. But what's really impressed me is his defense. And like you said, finally got a great catcher again. And I think that's it's the most important position on the field, like in terms of controlling the game, setting the pace for the game. You're the only position that sees the field from that perspective as well, like the entire field. And having a great catcher is such like an underrated great thing in today's game, because I feel like it's a pretty thin position right now. So I think I'm probably going Austin Wells, honestly, at this point. Luis Huel with a close number 2, but I think it's either one of them. I don't think, who is it, Cowser with Baltimore? That would be the other choice. I'm moving a top 3, but I don't see him winning at this point.
Wilyer Abreu for the Boston Red Sox has a chance to be get some votes, but I'm gonna take the opposing side. I would vote for Luis Huel as of this moment because of the way he carried the Yankees when Gerrit Cole was out. I know that Austin Wells has been great, and it's really neck and neck for me, but I feel like the Austin Wells, like second half, it's a little bit of recency bias because he's been so good. But Luis Huel started off like 10-1. I mean, for a while it looked like he might start the All-Star game. I mean, that's how good he was. And without him, who knows where the Yankees are this season, because Gerrit Cole was out until June and he really picked up the slack. So I think I would cast my vote right now, if I had one, for Luis Huel. But let us know in the chat what you think. It seems like most people are saying Wells, and I hear you. And, I don't want the hate, so I love them both. They're both like my children. But I think I would vote for Luis Huel at the moment. So again, as we approach the playoffs, it's time to start thinking about matchups and who we match up against. Before we get to that, quick programming note. I want to give everybody who didn't stay up to watch this recap live a chance to watch the show in the morning and throughout the day because it's coming out later than usual. So I'm going to do my live voicemail show at 7 p.m. tomorrow as kind of a pregame show. So call in, the number 718-899-1068. And TK, I've got a quick voicemail about the Yankees' possible toughest opponent. You want to listen?
Yeah, let's do it.
Which team in the American League are you least looking forward to playing? And what I was saying is, through July, I think most people would have said that the team that they were least looking forward to playing was the Orioles. But ever since then, I think my opinion has changed from Baltimore to Houston. And the reason why I say that is that since May 9th, the Astros have the best record in baseball. And the reason why I use May 9th in particular is because we all know that they had a really rough first month. And on top of that, May 9th was the last regular season game that they had against the Yankees. And in that period, and since that game, they have the best record in baseball.
Yeah, so Astros, I've been saying this for a while. I think the World Series, the road to the World Series still goes through Houston. I still see them as the biggest threat. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we can finally take down the white whale this year?
Oh, man, I hope so because I might be finishing my bottle of wine if we don't. But anyway, I want to bring up another team that I don't see as the biggest threat, because I do think it's Houston. But if you believe in that would be the Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians are a surprise team this year. I thought they were going to suck and be sellers, which is why at the very beginning of the year, I was like, Emmanuel Clase, please, 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 which frankly is like the missing piece on this Yankees team. Emmanuel Clase on the Yankees team would be a game changer. Go look at that guy's stats. He's having an unbelievable year right now. But the Cleveland Guardians are a team where it's a 6-inning game against them or a 7-inning game again. They have a lights-out bullpen, man. And they are a crafty team. They always got good pitching. I know we own them in the playoffs. Basically, we are the Astros to the Guardians.
Yeah,
and the Twins as well. But I'm saying if you believe in that kind of scares me a little bit. I do think we take care of business if we get matched up against them. And then, yes, Minute Maid has been an absolute house of horrors for us. And I definitely think they are going to be the biggest threat. Number 1 on my list, followed by the Guardians as 2. Don't underestimate. I got called a moron. It's fine. Don't underestimate them.
It's all right. That guy, rudeness is not tolerated. That's a violation of the living room. He's gone.
It's fine. I'm telling you guys, they are a lot better than people think. They're
good.
Surprise team. They're a good club. Don't underestimate that team, man. They will make you sweat a little bit. We sweated against them the other year. What the hell was that series?
They're fighting us for best record in the American League. They're 87-65. They've got a 79 run differential. That's better than the Orioles. That's right up there with the Astros. Astros have a 93 run differential. I mean, they're good. And like you said, Emmanuel Clase is a game changer. I still think the Houston Astros, because of the history there, are going to be the biggest threat. I still think that, that's the ALCS.
I want to be clear. Houston is definitely my number 1 biggest threat. I'm just throwing in Cleveland there as don't underestimate that club. Don't just think, it's no problem. We own this team. We're already on to Houston. You can't just lightly take them. They are a better team than people think, and they'll sneak up on you.
PJ, for the people listening, says biggest threat is Clay Holmes.
Yeah, exactly.
And Michael Rubio says Gleyber's showcase for the Mariners. Gleyber playing really well. He had 3 hits today. He continues to swing the bat really well since being sat down. You want to chat about that a little bit now since we're talking about Gleyber. You had a comment while we were in the green room about how much of a better player he's been since he was benched.
I mean, yeah, you look at, I'm sure you could pull up the stats since that moment that happened, but since he got benched for lack of hustle and then they moved him up to the leadoff, he's a different player, man. He's hitting the ball way better. He's doing his approach is much more like right center, which is the best version of Gleyber Torres when he's not trying to pull everything. And I think that his defense has been better as well, just because I think he has more confidence. Yeah, pretty good tonight. Exactly. We'll get into this later, but he had some belt consideration just because of his defense tonight. But the guy definitely has, I don't want to say he's had a great year because he hasn't. He had a horrible first 70% of the year, but he's certainly made it at least salvageable at this point where he's had an okay year because he's had an excellent rest of the year. But I think with a guy like Gleyber is kind of a head case where if he's starting to hit well, he'll play better defense and make less base running errors. And if he's not hitting well, then the opposite will happen. I think everything is kind of affected with him like that. But I'm happy to see him play well. It's only going to help his free agency because he's lost a lot of money, definitely a lot of money. And I don't think he's coming back, but I hope he gets a nice contract somewhere else and definitely out of the division because he's a guy who would sign with the Red Sox and then end up being amazing against us like every ex-Yankee does. So I hope that doesn't happen and he goes to the Braves or something, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up shaking out.
We'll see how it shakes out. Hey, quick word from our sponsor, then we'll be back in 60 seconds with the highlights from the game, the home runs from Dominguez and Soto, and also the belt winner. Real quick word from our sponsor. I'll be back in about 60 seconds. Mornings are nuts, especially when you're doing a voicemail show like I do. No time for breakfast, but you still need to start your day right. What if a delicious, nutritious meal could be ready in just seconds? Support for Pinstripe Territory is brought to you by Huel, the world's #1 complete nutrition brand, trusted by millions with over 400 million meals sold worldwide. Fuel your day with convenient, complete nutrition. Try it yourself with this exclusive offer, 15% off using the code FOUL at Huel.com. Personally, I love the Huel Ultimate Super Greens Powder. It's packed with 91 vitamins, minerals, and whole food ingredients. Their nutrition bars are great. Savory pouches are amazing too. Give it a try. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel's nutritionally complete meals. Focus on what really matters. Again, that's 15% off using the code FOUL at Huel.com.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
All right. Bills are paid. All these lights are expensive, so we gotta have the sponsors check out Huel. So if you went to bed early and you missed the game, here's what you missed. Yankees wasted absolutely no time getting on the board in the first inning. Infield single from Gleyber Torres, line drive double from Juan Soto, line drive double into the left field corner for Aaron Judge to score the first 2 runs of the game. 35th double of the year. He's amazing. He also picked up a 2-run single in the second inning to put him up to 136 RBIs on the season. 4 RBIs in the first 2 innings is pretty good. So, TK, first player to 10 WAR. I still feel like there could be some shenanigans when it comes to the MVP vote with Bobby Witt. Any chance that Witt steals it here?
No, I think Judge has locked it up at this point. I think Witt will get a couple first place votes because if some schmuck cannot vote for Derek Jeter for Hall of Fame, some idiot's going to vote for Bobby Witt Jr. to win MVP over Aaron Judge. But I think Aaron Judge has pretty much locked it up at this point. Hey, Bobby Witt, great player, had a great year. I do think he will win an MVP at some point in his career, 100%. Fantastic player. But Judge I know Judge is probably not going to hit 62 again because that was just an ungodly year, but he is having a historically great season. Don't think twice about that. So I do think he's locked it up. I don't think Bobby Witt will win it. I think he'll get some first place votes, but I think similarly in the National League, Ohtani will win it, but I do think Lindor will probably get some first place votes as well as some consideration.
Ohtani hit number 48. He's on his way to 50-50 here. So we had a comment about Gleyber Torres' stats since he got benched. 299, 370 on base percentage, 421 slugging with 7 home runs and 30 RBIs since being benched for 2 games against the Mets and Blue Jays. So he had some really nice, good defensive plays in the second inning. He had a really good day. He also doubled down the right field line, big opposite field double, his 3rd hit of the night. He had 3 hits. And that led into Juan Soto, who needed to homer in Seattle to complete the 30 home run, or more than 30 home runs, but home runs in all 30 ballparks. So let's take a look at it.
That ball is high. It is far. It is
That was inside that pitch. Inside pitch. And he goes oppo boppo. Home run number 40 on the season. Everyone he hits from now on becomes a career high 200th home run. And as I mentioned, home run in all 30 ballparks. He hit the ball hard in the final game of the homestand. I had a feeling this could be coming. I should have made a Derek prediction, but I didn't. Very next inning, there was a line drive right at him in right field, and he kind of broke in, misjudged it, and went over his head. That wasn't pretty. He still continues to have issues on the bases, and he's not the best defender, but he's such a great offensive player. TK, I say pay the man.
Pay that man his money.
I had to wait there for the audio, but yeah, I hope so. I hope so, man. I'm praying that they re-sign him. I just don't know.
What's your number? Like, if you had to throw out just real quick, what would be your guesstimate right now?
What is if I'm the Yankees, like, what's the max I'd give him, or what do I think he'll get?
What do you think he'll get?
I think the Mets are seriously going to give him 60 a year. I'm not kidding. I think Steve Cohen will just not be outbid because Steve Cohen just doesn't care. And they got a lot of money coming off the books, man. And they got some nice Luis Angel Acuna hit his first major league home run tonight. Looks exactly like his older brother. I really do think the Mets are trending in the right direction. They got a good front office. They got some good young talent coming through the system. They got a lot of one-year contracts. Like I said, a lot of money coming off the books. The Verlander and Scherzer one as well. Yeah. So they got money to spend. I think basically what will happen is Cohen will be like, okay, what's your offer? Oh, the Yankees offered me 50 a year. Okay, we'll go 51. And then he'll just keep kind of just doing that until the Yankees tap out. And unless he just decides to go, okay, here's 60. But no, I'm legitimately afraid that Steve Cohen will offer him like a $700 million contract.
This is where, if you're Hal Steinbrenner and the Yankees, you go to Scott Boras and you go to Juan Soto and you ask them, you put the onus on them. You say, what will it take? What is the number to come back to the Yankees? And you let him make the first offer, right? If he says 60 a year, then that's what it is. But if they try and run it up from there, I don't think the Yankees are gonna play ball.
I have a number. I don't think the Yankees go higher than, for some reason, 55. I think is the absolute max that the Yankees would go. But I mean, 40 million and 55 million, so $95 million. For two players, that's a lot of money, man.
That is a lot of money. Top 5, Jason Dominguez, possible heir apparent if Soto is gone as the big bopper in the lineup other than Aaron Judge. He's been struggling since he got called up. Today, he finally broke out.
There it goes! It is high. It is far. It is gone! There it goes! El Marciano! Gone! See ya!
I've been waiting to use that one all season. I built that in February. I've been waiting to use that all season. Live long and prosper, my friends. Oh, man. First home run from the kid, dead center field, no cheapie. He's gotten off to a slow start, but you're starting to see better at-bats. People have already been complaining and taking shots at the kid, but he's 21. By the time he's 22, he's going to be one of the most exciting players in baseball. Book it. Book it. What are you seeing from JD?
Yeah, I think we got a phenom kind of player in our midst here. I think if we end up losing Soto and Dominguez turns out to be the player that we think he's going to be, then that'll hurt a little less. It'll still hurt, but it'll hurt a little bit less. But I also think that would only put more pressure on Dominguez as well to like try to fill those shoes, if you will. But yeah, this guy, I think I'm in lockstep with you, Derek. This guy is going to be like a phenom player. I mean, he's 21 years old. He's got the moxie. He's got the swag. He already looks like he belongs. Swing is really sweet. Switch hitter. I mean, can't say much about it. I mean, dude, his nickname is the freaking Martian, for Christ's sake. Like,
so let me say this. He's had some issues from the right-hand side of the plate in the minor leagues, but he draws walks from the right-hand side of the plate. Like, he's had a few really good at-bats. It seems like every at-bat is 3-2. Like, he's a pro hitter, man. He is a pro hitter. Yeah. We had Stroman working out of the bullpen tonight, which is good. Saved a couple of arms. And the Yankees hang on to win Game 1, 11-2. Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Martian All-Star next year, my prediction.
Martian is an all-star next year? Yeah, I can live with that. My upcoming prediction, and I made this prediction last year when he got hurt. I tweeted, after he got Tommy John surgery, I said, it's going to feel so great when he wins ALCS MVP next year.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking with it. I'm hanging in there with that prediction.
Listen, man, he puts together major league at-bats, and he just needs licks. And you got to put him in the lineup in October. He needs to feel what that feels like. What a postseason game in the Bronx feels like with the crowd, the energy. He needs that experience at this age.
We also had a 3-run double from Austin Wells to break things open even further. I forgot to mention that. But time to give out the belt. Who you thinking tonight, man? We debated this one. We went back and forth, but I'm going to let you make the announcement.
We debated this one, and there were a couple guys that I think – there was like a final 3 and a couple guys I guess would get the honorable mention if you want to mention that afterward, Derek. But I think we had to go with the guy who's going to get the bag this offseason, whatever that number is, Mr. Juan Soto with the milestone. $700 million man. When I say $700 million, it's not going to be Ohtani where it's 10 years. It'll be AAV is 70. It'll be like 14 years. He's only going to be 26 next year. So,
yeah, I don't know. I'm anxious to see it. It's going to be a fun winter to watch. He's going to have that big smile on his face at some point. We'll see it. But great night for the Yankees. They pull ahead by 4 games in the American League East, and it is 1:11 a.m. in the East. So we're going to wrap up here. A couple final thoughts. Reminder: pregame show tomorrow at 7 p.m. And then Terrence will be back tomorrow and on Friday. My West Coast guy finally doing some fucking West Coast games like I hired him for. Finally. No, so tomorrow we're going to talk about Spencer Jones because I saw a review of he hit a nuke. He hit a 453-foot home run tonight. But J.J. Cooper from Baseball America had a really outstanding piece of commentary about him that I think every Yankees fan needs to see to kind of set their expectations. And I'm going to play that tomorrow. And then we're also going to talk about Anthony Volpe. He got the night off today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about his season, his second season. We'll just carve out some time during one of the first 4 topics, and we'll talk about his night. If he plays tomorrow, he might get the day off tomorrow again. I would give him a day off. I would give him another day off and let him continue to work on his swing. Mini All-Star break. And we'll talk about him. We'll talk about Spencer Jones. Any final thoughts, TK?
Yeah, I feel like if they give him the night off tomorrow, that's kind of saying a lot. Maybe what the organization is kind of feeling about. Maybe they're trying to do a little reset, but I don't think they've given this amount of time off for Volpe yet in his career.
Yeah, it's strict. I think it would strictly be a mechanical workshop day. We've seen that. Reset. Yeah, we've seen that before where you give a guy 2 days, basically 2 days to work it out in the cage. You know, a little mental break, a breather, a physical break. I think that you do that, and he comes out of it. I really think so.
Yeah, and then also you got Oakland coming up, so then he just mashes that team, and it gets his confidence going a little bit too. So maybe they're thinking about that way. Then one final thought: Fred Hernandez, Derek, and Terrence. Will Stroman be in the playoff roster? I think so. He showed you tonight. I think he's got some valuable. He's a valuable arm coming out of the bullpen in the playoffs, like a long relief guy. I'd like to see that. What do you think, Derek?
I don't think he'll be on the roster in round 1 because you don't need even 4 starters for the first series. You probably only need 3, possibly. Maybe. But I don't. In a 5-game series, I don't think you need him. I think he'll be one of those guys that stays behind and makes a start in Tampa, and then you'll probably have him in the ALCS if you make it as a potential arm. So that's my thought. All right, ladies and gentlemen, reminder to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on every podcast platform. TK, we'll see you tomorrow night.
See ya.
Ball game over.
If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.